I just like the rush of it. Any competitor would be that way.
Your bowling ball is like your best friend. It always comes back, no matter how bad your game is.
In a way, I like bowling in a league just because, you know, like it's sociable and stuff like that.
You learn a lot about backgrounds of different people and what they do for a living, and it's just fun to hang out with them.
There's more bowlers than there is any other sport because we always had a little slogan from 3 to 93.
I love the camaraderie with all the different teams that we bowl, that we get to switch every week. You get to meet the different members of the league, see the different personalities.
Almost anyone can bowl. It doesn't matter if you're big or tall, you know, strong or weak or whatever. So it doesn't matter your profession. So it's been fun interacting with all sorts of different types of individuals and different backgrounds.
I started bowling in 1957.
Jack Wadley loved bowling so much that he bought the business. Wadley owns the Jack and Jill bowling lanes in American Fork, Utah. For the past 43 years, he has enjoyed a front row seat in a sport that blends all races, professions, genders, and pay grades into a community.
The state finals.
Wadley says bowling is America's sport because, like America, it's a melting pot.
I've got people that are 95 that are still bowling, and we start them at 3 in the Pee Wee League, the junior leagues. On Saturday morning, I've got 3 kids out there who are 3 and 4 years old, and they can't wait to get back. And so it's not only camaraderie, but it becomes a family sport too.
Fads come and they go, but Wadley says folks pack his lanes day and night, year after year.
Owning is kind of a misconception. It's promoting and utilizing those skills to make the competition and the improvement of their attitude and their ability to a potential. And a potential is a physical and a mental attitude. They always said that the game is 10% physical and 90% mental.
In addition to running the business, Wadley also coaches, teaching people how to improve their game, whether they ask for his help or not.
Got it. Hey! Jack is so nice to everyone in this league. Like he's taken a lot of extra time to, you know, coach me and tell me, you know, pointers on what I'm doing wrong or how to improve. But then when you're bowling with Jack, when he's on the other team, you feel all this pressure that you don't want to let him down, that you want to perform as he would want you to do it. And so it's awesome, but then when you let him down, you just feel like you let your dad down, so, or your grandpa.
Gordy Nielsen started bowling at Jack and Jill's about a year ago. A plasma engineer, Nielsen frequently spends lunch hours practicing his game.
It's kind of a fun, relaxing, but also intense sport. Like it's not there's not a lot of physical exertion, so you're not tired in that way. But it can get pretty intense because leagues, you bowling, you know, against another team, and the games can be tight, and it can come down to a single pin, where last bowler up has to get that last pin down to win the game. So it's a fun thing to do consistently, meet people that you don't normally interact with, and develop a skill.
It might look like all fun and games, but the competition is intense, even down to following the proper bowling etiquette.
The thing that you have to understand about bowling is it's similar to golf in respects to how people want to be treated in the bowling alley, that there's a certain etiquette. In golf, you would never talk during someone's backswing or, distract them in any way. And the same is with bowling, that you would never bowl at the same time as the person next to you. And so you have, there's a certain etiquette that is expected. And we had a team member, who shall remain nameless, but he may be putting this documentary together, had just returned back from a mission, and we're going to blame it on that he didn't know what was going on. But we were in a very tight match, and we were also bowling against a very volatile person. And the other team was up to bowl to pick up a spare, and this team member just got right up, picked up his ball, and didn't even stop, just bowled right in front of the other person. And this other person was very upset with it, and he threw his spare ball and missed. He was so upset that he came back and gave our whole team the double bird on his way back to his seat. So that will stay with me forever. Getting the double bird at the bowling alley.
In addition to the rules of bowling, there are a lot of traditions on the lanes that most non-bowlers don't even know about. For example, if a bowler fails to knock down the 5-pin on the first roll, anyone in the alley can raise their hand as they watch the second throw. If the ball misses, they buy a drink for everyone with a raised hand.
It's the easiest pin to hit. It's right behind the head pin. That if that's the one standing, then you should be able to hit it every time. So you raise your hand to give them a little extra pressure, and then if they don't get it, then they're supposed to buy you a drink if your hand's raised. Not everybody pays up on it. I know I don't, because it's ridiculous, but it's still fun just to shut everybody up.
Julian Contreras got into bowling watching his parents play. He's on a team called the Pinheads, and they take this game seriously, right down to the science of pinheadology.
When you're picking a ball, you gotta do a lot of research. You can't just pick a ball that everybody's using, because it might not work for your style. So you get the core, and then you start to understand what the ball's supposed to do, and then the hardest part is just pulling the trigger and buying it, and then you gotta get it drilled, and then hopefully it works out for you. Like this one here, the core is supposed to keep the ball nice and low through the pins, so it gives more carry. And when I got it, that's exactly what it did. And this is my go-to ball for a while now. So
the Pinheads are as competitive as any team in leagues, but it's friendly. For David Butler, on the other hand, bowling is a life or death sport, literally.
I've had heart problems. I was supposed to have an angiogram, but I couldn't get a sub, was having a roll-off. So I canceled my angiogram, went bowling, and we got down to the 10th frame, and the guy opened up, and they were 29 pins ahead of us. So I needed 3 strikes to win by 1 pin. I got 3 strikes. And then we bowled for the championship, and it come down to the 10th frame again, and I doubled up, which we won the championship.
Butler rolls for a team called the Moose Knuckles, one of the best in the league in bowling, not in team name selection.
If I have a bad set, like I shoot say a 400 or 540 series, I get a readout and try to pick up something positive. Like one night, I felt like I bowled 10 games. I had 15 10 pins in 3 games. I picked up 14 out of the 10. So I always try to look at something positive, but if I have a bad week, it just gives me more incentive to come back. When I come back after that 10-year layoff, I started bowling every day, and then I'd go over and bowl on the weekend, about 12 games, and try to learn. But I've always been competitive. I've always been competitive. And I'll bowl until I can't bowl anymore.
Butler, a retired tree trimmer, hits the lanes almost every day of the week. He bowls consistently a 200 game, but is also known for his turkey gobble.
Gobble, 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 gobble. How's that?
That's great. Another bowling tidbit, they call it a turkey when a player rolls 3 strikes in a row. When Butler sees that, he lets everyone in the alley know. Danny Sayas likes the sound of the gobble, especially on days like today. Sayas loves to bowl. The feeling of his fingers in the custom grips, the smell of the oiled wood on the lanes, and the grit of the chalk in his hands. But sometimes skill, preparation, and fate all come together.
I was just trying to focus on the arrow because I was shaking. I'd never been that nervous.
Sayas felt it in the air, the floor, in his bones, as he rolled strike after strike after strike.
The closer it got, the more it looked real, so I pretty much knew it was good, but yeah, it was sweet. It was sweet.
After a lifetime of bowling, Sayas did what few bowlers ever do. He rolled 12 strikes in a row, a perfect 300 game.
You got to be self-motivated to accomplish whatever it is you want. Just a 200, start out the 200 game or something, and then like I just did today, got my first 300, and just keep at it because there's no reason you can't practice your butt off and get it.
The sport of bowling has a long and rich history. A British anthropologist claims he found bowling-type relics in a child's grave in Egypt dating back to 3200 BC. According to the Bowling Museum, King Edward III outlawed bowling in 1322 to force his troops to focus on archery. English and Dutch and German settlers brought various versions of bowling to America in the 1800s, where the game evolved from a 9-pin to a 10-pin game. And in 1895, the first bowling congress was created, with standard rules and a national championship. Automated bowling was invented in the 1950s, eliminating the need for pin boys, and television brought the sport of bowling to American households.
The scene of the 12th Annual Individual Match Game Championships, where the nation's top bowling stars are in competition for the 2 most coveted crowns in the 10-pin sport, the Match Game King and the Match Game Queen of the bowling world.
Today, more than 95 million people enjoy the sport of bowling in 90 countries. There are around 3,000 leagues in the U.S. where people gather every night of the week to knock down pins and make friends.
I started bowling a long time ago down in Price with my sister, who was a really good bowler.
Tony Pinedo bowls on the Beach Boys team. He also serves as the league president.
Actually, my son is the one that nominated me, and they had me corralled into this. This is my 3rd year now as president. And so I enjoy doing that, but it wasn't something that I was seeking or, being ambitious about doing.
During the day, he teaches Espanol at the local junior high schools. But at night, his life revolves around gutters, foul lines, and kingpins.
Since I've been the president, I have enjoyed getting to know all the members better, and it's been fun doing that.
For Pinedo, the atmosphere in the house relaxes him, but mostly it gives him a chance to engage with people on a deeper level.
Sometimes you see people on the outside, and you see one thing, and then when you get a chance to bowl with them and talk with them and visit, you find out that maybe they're totally different than what you thought. So I'm a people person, and I love to do that. So.
Sammy Wheatley, known as Sammy the Sub, never intended to join a bowling league.
My dad is on a team called VCT, and honestly, I was just coming here with him, like to keep him company on the way home. And then I heard that it was only $25 for signing up as a substitute bowler, so I did, and here I am.
Wheatley plays on a different team every night. He just shows up and gets drafted to fill in for someone who couldn't come.
Last week I was bowling with Pete, Reed, Adam, and Gordy, and I was bowling against my dad's team, and I was doing most of the trash talking for that team. It was fun. I liked it.
He also doesn't mind the hardware.
This one right here is a 150. And then this one right here is a 175 game. I don't have it with me tonight, but I do have a keychain that's a 400 series. So, I mean, it's pretty cool that you get rewards even as a sub.
Any night at Jack and Jill's, you will see grocery checkers, school teachers, a retired tree trimmer, even a chemical engineer. B5B! Some are construction workers, truck drivers, local government employees, or phone salesmen. A wide slice of middle America gathered around the ball return wearing funky flat-bottomed shoes, laughing and talking about their jobs, their families, and their lives. They're men and women, Democrats and Republicans, Mormons and Baptists, straight throwers and hookers, regular folk who just want to put aside any differences for a few hours and concentrate on only one world problem. How to solve that difficult 7-10 split.
Like in the league that you and I bowl in, it's a feeling of camaraderie, no matter if you're in competition with or against. It's always, we'll see you next week. Have a good week.